Hey family, happy Tuesdays. I'm Herbalist Viola and we're going to answer the subscribers' questions with Tuesdays with Very Wise Alternatives. But look, before we get started, like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next video. I know a lot of subscribers ask me about high blood pressure. Look, today I want to share a powerful story. I mean, a very powerful story. One of my dear friends who I was honored to have met through Herbalist Kareem in this Herbalist course. But first, let me Well, I want to ask a question. So how many people in your family actually have high blood pressure? How many people you know that have high blood pressure? How many people you know who have left this earth due to high blood pressure? Look, right now we need to stop. I'm serious. We need to stop normalizing, like saying, "Hey, high blood pressure run in our family." No, it don't. What runs in our family is the eating. Let's just be honest. It's the eating. We pass down the same eating habits. That's where we end up with the same diseases and issues and problems and die the same way that some of our family members die. So look, so what I want to do, I want to bring on someone who actually corrected their issues with high blood pressure. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Momma Dee.
Hello, my name is Dee, and I'm here to share my story of how I was able to get off of prescription meds and live a happy, healthy life so far. Um, if you're here watching this video, I'm assuming it's because you or someone that you care about may be having an issue with high blood pressure. Now, I'm going to tell my story. I'm sitting in my kitchen. I'm just me. I'm sitting in my kitchen. You're probably going to hear cars going by, the dog barking, whatever. But what's important is what I have to tell you about my journey. So, if you would just sit back, relax, and let's talk about this thing. Now, I know that you're used to seeing. Well, I should say first off, I am not a medical professional of any sort. I'm just a grandma, great grandma, who got tired of taking meds and how they were making me feel. And I knew that there had to be another way. So, with that said, I was working I enjoyed my job. I was working a job. Now I'm retired, but at that time I was working a job I had been on when I retired, 22 years. I enjoyed my job. I enjoyed the people that I worked with. But at some point, it got to be a little stressful. Then it got to be a lot stressful. So trying to do work and do home. Because see, when I got home, I ain't had no wife to continue on and do my dinner and all that other stuff. It was all it was all on me. Of course I love what I did, but again, it was stressful. And I was getting closer and closer to retirement age or wanting to retire. And I was wondering if something should go wrong. How am I going to pay the for the medications? At the time I was on high blood pressure medicine. I was also on statins, and there was always something. And I'm thinking, that's what got me thinking. I'm like, okay, if something should happen as far financially, or if I don't have insurance, because I didn't know what my future held, how am I going to pay for this stuff? Because I had been told, like most folk, that, okay, you take this is a maintenance drug, you're going to have to be taking it for the rest of your life. Well, I bought into that for a long time. I took high blood pressure medication for over 30 years. And when I decided enough was enough, which was after I retired, um, I started watching Herbalist Kareem over at Four Cycles of Life on YouTube. And he did a video on how to wean yourself off of medication. I'm like, that looks interesting, but I don't know. So it still took me a little while before I actually made up my mind. But in the meantime, and people, look, I'm going to be jumping from place to place because that's what I do. That's what people my age do. I have to tell you about it as I think of it, okay? So just bear with me. One of the things is I didn't listen to a lot of young folk, and I do know that there are young people who have issues with blood pressure. But, as older people, and people that look like me, we normally don't take other people's idea or their word for how things actually go. You got to do it yourself. You got to see somebody who looks like you to be able to say, well, maybe that will work. And that's one of the reasons I'm here. This is why I have been asked so many times to share my video. Please share your journey. Let people know. Older people need to know that it can be done. So when I started, I actually received a package from my from my job, so I was able to retire a little bit earlier. I was like, thank God it included a medical insurance, and that way I could pay for my meds. So I wasn't thinking about that at the time. What I had promised myself was that when I did retire, I would take 2 years off, not do squat, just whatever I wanted to do. If I didn't want to do it, I didn't do it. So I held true to that word. My first 6 months, I did a lot of traveling. I took my ideal vacation, which was ideal for me. Went to Hawaii, stayed almost 3 weeks. It was really nice. That's something for another video. I ate a lot and I did good. I enjoyed myself, the sunshine, everything. It was awesome. But then when I came back home, it was still nagging me about the meds. And I don't know, I can't remember how I heard about, I think it's forks over knives or knives over forks. It's a documentary that was on Netflix, and it explained a lot about how you eat, what you eat, how it impacts you, especially meat. And okay, I'm like, okay, I ain't trying to be no vegan, I ain't trying to be no vegetarian. I just want to, take a few steps to do a little better so I can go a little further. Well, it dawned on me that some of the things that I was eating was not good for me. And my husband and I both talked about it, and we decided that we would no longer eat meat. I don't want to be put in a box. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan and all those other names that they call people. I'm just not going to eat meat. My main reason was because of my digestive system. I found out over time that the body digests plant-based foods much better than meat. And it was hard at first, not real hard, because I wasn't a big meat eater. I love chicken because you could fix it so many ways. And most of the time it wasn't fried chicken. It was always either baked or grilled or something anyway. So when I decided to, oh, but wait a minute. The thing that I did love was bacon and ham. I loved pork chops. I didn't eat it a lot, but I enjoyed it when I did eat it. So, and this is, just like everybody else here in the South, this is what I was raised up on. Well, other than smelling the hickory smoke or the cured smell of when people were cooking, because here in the South, they're going to put some smoked meat in just about everything that you eat, whether it's greens, beans, whatever. So that part right there was kind of hard for me. But I decided a week turned into a month, and a month turned into, more time. And as time went on, I would think about things, but I would be like, I've come too far to turn around. So I stopped, all meat. And that was the beginning of my journey. Little did I know. It was over a year. We had stopped eating meat for over a year by the time I actually decided to get off the meds. Because I kept, my pressure was not consistent even with the meds, and I was taking it as I was supposed to. I also had a cuff so I could monitor my blood pressure, and it was always higher than I thought it should have been. It was like, and I know some people who suffer from much higher numbers, but for me, 148 over 80 something. Sometime it will go up to 150 something over 90 something. And I'm like, okay, it's still not right. So as I decided I would do a little research to see what I could do different, especially after reading, because you go to the drugstore, you get your medication, the doctor, because you thinking the doctor knows the best. And you don't bother to read the precautions that are on the little leaflet. You just take the pill like they told you, or the pills like they told you, and going about your business. Well, I started reading those leaflets that they include in your drugs. And the thing about it was, where I worked, they had a program for people who had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and other things. And as long as you went to counseling for these things, they gave you the medication free. That was while I was working. It's like, oh, okay. So I didn't really worry about it then. Didn't read the leaflet. So when I started reading the leaflets, I started noticing all of these side effects. And a lot of them were things that happen. They say it'll go away after your body gets used to it. Not. I was always tired. My get up was just gone. And some days I would have a headache. And a lot of times it was because my blood pressure was high. I couldn't sleep. I'd have restless nights. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that all of it was the medication, but the medication was covering up for me the real issue. So getting back to that, I started researching, and that's how I ran across Herbalist Kareem at 4 Cycles of Life, because he was trying to help people build their own apothecary, and telling us about the different things that you could do in substitution for the Skittles. And when I say Skittles, I'm talking about prescription meds. Well, I didn't start right away because I was afraid. I was really afraid because when I didn't take the medications, I felt a certain way, but it was worse than it was when I did take them. So I was afraid. I bought into that. You're gonna have to take these meds the rest of your life, okay? So I went on and went on, but then when I did, just decide, okay, it's got to be a better way. I learned about the using cayenne pepper, because I was also. I'm gonna show you these, honey. This is the bag. Yeah, this is a bag of meds with the little leaflets in the back, but I'll tell you about that later. Um, I was on aspirin. They were supposed to be helping to thin my blood. I was on metoprolol, uh, which is some kind of blocker, but I'll get into that later on too. But I was on like 3 different meds, and I know people who are on way more than that. But to me, that was my norm, and it just was, it wasn't feeling right. So imagine my surprise when I found out that they give you the aspirin supposedly to keep your blood flowing, to keep it thin, and so you're not subject to blood clots. And well, I found out that cayenne pepper will do the exact same thing. Okay. Then I ran across Herbalist Kareem's YouTube telling us about how to wean yourself off medication. So I watched it once, and I waited a while, and then I watched it again. And it was kind of like a person who maybe taking a drink to try to get up your courage. That was my drink, trying to get up my courage to give it a try. Well, lo and behold, he also did a video on fasting. Well, I always thought fasting meant you can't have anything to eat. I don't know where I got that notion. This is just what I thought, and I just thought it wouldn't work because I didn't have that kind of willpower. Well, when he explained that you would fast from certain things, that doesn't mean that you can't eat. And I think that's what people wind up thinking. They worry too much about what they can't have instead of focusing on what you can have. Well, and I will tell you about this fast. And I will also make it available to you if you're interested, which is how I started. I did fast. And let me back up. Now, people who are my age or somewhere in there, and I'm in my mid-60s. So if you think about it, when you go to the grocery store, most of the things that are on the shelf today did not even exist when we were children. I can remember living in my great-grandma's house. Everything we ate came from the land. We didn't eat canned food. Everything was fresh. We had two different kind of grapevines. We had apple trees. And in the garden, anything, corn, okra, whatever you needed was there. And during the summer, even though I hated it, didn't understand it at the time, she would do canning and preserving so that it would get us through the winter. None of the stuff that's in, well, not none, but most of the stuff that's in the store is food product. And when I looked at it that way, because if it's in a box, if it's in a can, that means it has other stuff in it to make it last longer to be on the shelf. So, of course, I thought about that because I love my pasta. I love my pizza. I loved a lot of things that, because when I was coming up, I don't even remember us. I didn't have pizza until I was grown. So I say that to say this. When I learned that real food was live food, living food, not something in a box, not something in a can. But the other thing was that I was addicted to certain foods. And I found that out during my fast because I love my chips, I love fries. I didn't eat a lot of fried food, but I liked what I liked. And I still like what I like. Don't get me wrong. I am not 100% where I should be. But baby, I'm a long way from where I was. Trust me when I tell you. So when I stopped and did the fast, I did it was more like a cleanse with fruit and vegetables only and water. Now look, again, I'm telling you, I live in the South. We like our sweet tea. And we like our sweet tea to be sweet. And when I say sweet, you can almost pour it on pancakes, okay? That is what I grew up on. That is what I did. When my children were here, and even after they left, my husband loved sweets. I was a baker. I cooked everything from scratch. I've always done that because that's the way I was taught. But honey, I love my sweets. He loved his sweets. When I fixed a gallon of tea, it may last 2 days. We drank that instead of drinking water, which is the other thing. I had to learn. Okay, when I lived in the country, we had a well. Well water is some of the sweetest, coolest, most wonderful thing you could drink. But when I moved to the city, water tastes a little bit different. And people would tell me, you can't taste water. Oh, yes, you can. It has a different taste. So I'm saying that maybe I did that to get rid of the taste of the regular water. I like the sweet taste better. Not only that, at one time I was a smoker. And for me, Smoking included drinking sweet tea. I didn't drink a lot of sodas. I drank my share, trust me, but I drank more sweet tea than anything else, and that was one of my vices also. So I had to learn how to get spring water or distilled water, uh, but water. Your body needs the water. And I'm like, I don't want that. It don't have no sugar in it. It don't taste right. I learned to do a little at a time. I had seen people who tried to make the change, and they tried to do much. Well, in my opinion, they tried to do too much at one time. So, like when I stopped eating meat, we started off maybe eating it every other day, then maybe every 2 days, to where it got to be once or twice a week. Then we tried doing plant-based all week, and then on Sunday our reward was to have meat included in the meal. Well, after a while, didn't eat that either, so we just stopped. Okay, see, here I go, I'm rambling again. I'm supposed to be telling you about the fast. Anyway, the fast let me know, after 3 days I felt so much different. I had so much energy. And it was only fruits and vegetables and water. No pasta, no bread, which I wasn't a big bread eater anyway, but there weren't a lot of sandwiches. That has a lot. Don't pay that truck no mind, honey. Let him go on down the street. Um, that had a lot to do with my high carbs, because we could always throw something in between two pieces of bread and call it a meal. Um, I also learned that my body was loving this water. Yeah, I had to go to the bathroom, but everything just kept moving. And that's what you want. You want it to keep moving. Okay, now that's enough right now about the food. But when I decided to stop with the medications, I went by Herbalist Kareem's video, and I weaned myself off of the meds just like I did with the meat. But there was an exception. When you've been taking medication for a very long time, and when I say very long, I would say just about anything that I've had that I was on for 6 months to a year. When I tell you it's hard to stop, because your body has been used to being in a certain way and feeling a certain way. And when you don't give it what it's gotten used to, it rebels. Now, when I would stop, I would have my the side effects from that. I think were even worse than what was going on when I was taking the medicine. So I would get to a certain, and I would be like, "Oh my God, I can't do this." I would go back and take the medicine again. Now, what he did tell us was, if you feel bad, something going on, go ahead and, you can't just quit cold turkey. Well, I figured that out. Because your body will still ask for, my body did. It continued to ask for the way it felt when I was taking the medication. So I did this for probably 3 months or better before I actually felt a difference when I wasn't taking it. Because one day I just decided I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Whatever it takes, I'm not going to take any more medication. Now, this is me. I'm not telling you to do that. Everybody's journey is different. I'm telling you my story. Okay? So when I decided I wasn't going to do that anymore, it was hard. I'm not going to tell you it was easy. There were some days when my body just said, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. But I got over it. And each time that I thought about taking the medication, I thought about it like I did when I quit eating meat, when I quit smoking. I had come too far to turn around, and that was what I used for my will. Because if I stopped, I would have to start all over again. And I had come too far. I couldn't do it. So, with that being said, uh, it took me I want to say a good 9 months maybe, to actually start feeling myself the way I used to feel before I started taking medication. And I am sure that I started taking herbs, and I'll tell you about that later too. When I started taking these herbs and drinking my water and eating better and getting out in the sunshine and walking, because now look, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to be real. No, I ain't going to the gym. Tried that. And I'm not telling people not to go to the gym. Hey, if that's your thing, that's your business. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But it's not for me. I can do the same thing without a gym membership, okay? We'll talk about that later too. I enjoy being outside, breathing in fresh air. Now I don't know where you are, or again, your journey may be different from mine, but I am still able to be out in the fresh air and the sunshine and be able to come and go, and I have enough room to walk around and exercise and enjoy the outdoors. We have a lot of trees here, which is awesome. I don't know for how long, because they're trying to put a building on every lot that they can, knocking down trees. But I digress. Sorry. See, I told you that happens. So, after about 9 months, I did start feeling more of myself, and I found herbs to help me along my journey, because a lot of people don't know all medications, for prescription medication, they're mimicking things of nature. So I had to find what suited me to do the same things that the meds were doing. I found something in plant life that will help me with that, and I'll tell you about that later. Okay, that's all for this part of the video. I'm gonna have to take a look at it and see what I left out, and add more. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do this, but this has been on my heart for a long time. There's so many people, young and old, and again, I'm targeting mostly people who look like me, especially women, because we we do a lot for our families, and a lot of times we neglect ourselves. We get family, work, outside interests, maybe church, whatever you're doing, and a lot of times we just do not take care of ourselves. My biggest thing is to let women, especially women over 50, don't get me wrong, I'm for everybody being able to live a good life and a healthy life. But again, I am targeting mostly women 50 and older because we give so much and we've given so much. And a lot of times we do just let ourselves go while we're helping somebody else. Um, I'm saying that you can be healthy, you can enjoy life, and instead of dreading, you can age with enthusiasm. Because, honey, let me tell you, the older I get, the better it gets. Because it seems like the things that used to bother me don't, that's not what's important. You learn to take care of the things that are important. You need to change your priorities. I keep saying you. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm talking to me too. And that's what I've done. I've learned to say no and not feel bad. If it's something I can do, yes, I will do. But if it's gonna stress me out, whether it's people, that's the other thing, honey. I had to let go of stress. People, things, situations. Now, you got folk that gonna work your last nerve. But trust me, if you cut them off, they're gonna go worry somebody else. It's not gonna be the end of the journey, okay? So I have learned to be able to tell people no. If I say yes, I will do what I can. But I stay away from people and situations who trigger me. I like who I am now. I don't want to have to go into that other self. Don't make me cuss you out because I'm trying not to. Move on. And when I tell you I'm done, baby, I'm done. Okay? And a lot of times, again, as women, we say, okay, just one more time. You got to learn to put your foot down. Get rid of the stress. Stress will kill you. And the same people and things that are stressing you out will go on to the next person before your body is cold. That's just my take. That's my. So you have a good rest of your day. And I'm going to watch this video, see what I left off and what I can add. And I will see you in the next video.
Wasn't a story just powerful? Listen, please go on her website, visit her website, go on her YouTube page. Please support her. Support her. You have her contact information. Go in there and hear her story. Hear all of her story. If you want, replay it. Send it to your family and friends and let them see. We need to stop this. We need to stop this dead in the tracks right now and change so we won't have our family members lose their life. A simple high blood pressure. Look, I know it's not simple, but it's simple to me when all you have to do is change your eating habits. Look, and I'm always speaking of that, but look, now you have proof. Purple Sage Healthy Living. Go to the website, support her channel. But look, family, happy Tuesday, and you guys have a good day.